Welcome to Community Taking Action, ABCD's program highlighting people and organizations doing great things in and around the Boston area. Our next guests are from an agency that I know you will all recognize. They're from the YMCA of Greater Boston. I want to welcome Francoiss Filsamy and Aaron Donahue. Welcome to the program.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having us.
Sorry about the slip up on the name. I'm just,
That's quite all right. That's quite all right.
So, YMCA of Greater Boston, Huntington Avenue branch. And I say it that way because when you go to the website and you look up the YMCA of Greater Boston, there's a lot going on there. So help the audience just get grounded in the YMCA in this area. There's a large association and then there's a branch where you guys are based out of.
A lot of people might not realize the Y is a national movement with over 900 associations and 3,000, what would you think of, branches of the YMCA. That movement was started right here in Boston, in these neighborhoods right here. 1851, so it's been around a long time. The first opening to the mission was to get people in off the street, get them a hot meal, and get them a mentor. We wanted to get young people in front of positive influences so they could learn, educate, and grow and be successful adults out in the professional workforce. Now, the Huntington Y was renovated recently, was the flagship Y and the first Y in the Greater Boston. And since then, we've built several more branches and expanded out through the city. So from that one Y there, YMCA Greater Boston serving over 100,000 residents, youth development, healthy living, and social responsibility. We send over 10,000 kids to summer camp. We're leveraging about $10 million in resources to be able to help those less fortunate afford to take advantage of programs.
And so, if I heard you correctly, the Y, which we all know as the fitness place and go get our work on, has its roots in social supports for families and children.
Absolutely.
In the community.
Absolutely. And I think, to your question, most people think of the Y, or a lot of folks do, as their first entry point to healthy living. Right. The Y's approach has always been, a holistic approach of we want to build community.
Francoiss, you are chair of the board, and what else?
I actually started out with the YMCA in 1996. Okay. I was working in member services at the Dorchester Y. Okay. And so then eventually what I wound up doing was I became a part of the board when I left the YMCA as an employee.
How long have you been with the Huntington branch?
Close to 10 years.
Wow. Yeah. And you've been chair these last year and a half or so?
Year and a half, correct.
Okay. Good. So I imagine you're working very closely with Aaron, who's the executive director, but you've been many other places.
A few places, yeah. I grew up in Colorado, and coincidentally, we both started the same year, 1996. I remember our first phone conversation a few years ago. I started out, I needed a place to get away from some of the negative influences that I had in high school and kind of branch out on my own, as it were. And I went to work for a Y. I cleaned the floors, I worked the front desk, I worked in the weight room, I coached young people there.
What distinguishes the Huntington Avenue branch from other branches, otherwise, at least in the Greater Boston area?
I would say it's so unique. The diversity is probably the most diverse Y in the country.
Is that right?
Yeah, with respect to income levels, ethnic backgrounds, all the different people speaking different languages coming out of there. I mean, with our scholarship program, you could have the CEO of a company working out next to someone receiving financial assistance or somebody in our housing program. So that makes it unique. The other thing is that a lot of Ys are tied to individual neighborhoods, and they might serve one or two neighborhoods, and say that's the case in a lot of areas in Boston. The Huntington Y serves 8 different neighborhoods in the city. It kind of sits in an area where it's in public transportation. There's access to all 8 of those neighborhoods. So it's so dynamic in that sense, where you have people coming from everywhere.
The Huntington branch still has a housing presence, and I guess that's still rare amongst a lot of social service programs.
It is, and we're proud to make our small dent in the homelessness epidemic that happens across the city and really across the country. There's 2 programs that happen at the Huntington Y. One is Boston Housing Authority, a single room occupancy program for low-income tenants, as you see throughout the city. The other program is emergency assistance for sheltered families. As you know, in the state of Massachusetts, it's unlawful for families to be homeless. Right. So we take that issue in a holistic approach, in a social service approach, where we're working to unravel the issues that brought people to homelessness in order to make their transition to permanent housing sustainable over a lifetime.
As you look back, as an executive director looking back at the history of the branch where you are, what would you say the trend has been for the success of the Y up until the renovation?
One of the things I would say is that with the expansion of the Y, we have even more teens, especially getting ready for the summer. And so we have well over a couple of thousand or so teens that are ramped up and ready to go, so that the capacity of the Y has expounded quite quite fastly and great. So that's one. The other thing too is obviously the workout area has opened up, and you have all the different schools. You have the Northeasterns, you have the Mass College of Pharmacy, you have corporate, we're offering corporate sponsors now in terms of corporate rates for people to work out there now. So these are a couple of little things that we're looking at now that are assisting us in making us better.
One of the things that I remember about the Y is that staff development was very big. I mean, the Y always had really excellent trainings, you know, whether it was Y National or locally, a lot going on there, a lot of very formalized training. Talk a little bit about that and what you do for staff.
So the Y's always had a strong history with that, with staff development. And we feel like the Y's a youth development organization. We have so many teens that start their first job being at the Y, right? Think about a youth development organization being the nurturing environment you need to have your first job there. So we employ a ton of teens through community partners, and a lot of those teens grow up to be full-time, full-blown employees of the Y.
I want to give you the opportunity to tell us something that we haven't heard. If you want to highlight a program, a success, issue, a challenge, I just want to give you the floor for a few seconds.
You already see the violence that's going on and what's happening in the community. We want to make sure that the teens are safe.
Right.
We provide a safe haven, a safe place for all those things that are going on and taking place right now as we speak. So that piece, I think, is very important, and they know they have a place for us. We have a place for them, and we can also provide them with the food and the nourishment and whatever else they need while they're here at the Y.
Francoiss is humble about it, but he's the head of a task force for teens, along with being the chair of the board. Well, he's put together some of the sharpest minds in the city around youth development and how we're going to engage young people, well, now specifically in the summer, but then again in the school year after school. So the Y is open till 11 o'clock at night, and that's a big part of the Y to help develop young people and give them a safe space to be. And then once they're with us, we can bend their ear and get them into positive experiences and thinking about college and careers and those things. And so far, it's been real successful.
How can people get in touch with you? What's the website or the phone number?
Call me whatever you want. Just call me. 617-927-8072. That's my direct line. You can get on the internet, www.ymcaboston.org.
ymcaboston.org.
And then if you hit /Huntington, that'll direct you specifically to the Huntington Y and some nice photos of the new facility up there and a way to get in touch with our folks.
Excellent. Gentlemen, I want to thank you both for coming on the program and all that I've learned about the Y. It's centuries-long history and stuff that we didn't even talk about on air, about camps, et cetera. Really appreciate it. So I want to, really show my appreciation, and maybe I'll come over and visit.
All right.
No, definitely. Doors are open.
We got 'em.
So again, thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
That concludes our program. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And if you've missed any episodes, you can catch them on YouTube. Thank you for joining Community Taking Action. I am your host, Eric Mitchell. Until next time.